Hello and welcome. My name's Jackson John. I am a personal development coach and I help men beat the bullshit and become their best selves. So, this is my client Rupert. He's been with me for a while and he has an incredible transformation. So, we're here to tell you a story. Mate, tell them about yourself.
So, hi, I'm Rupert. Yeah, I've been working with Jackson now for almost like 9 months or so, something like that. And I've lost over 20 kilos. And I've just got into a gym routine where I go more or less every day. And yeah, feeling great for it.
100%. And I mean, look, the results are evident. I think the main thing that I took from it was obviously you're an intelligent man. You knew what you were doing before, but do you think you could just tell the audience sort of where you were when we first started in terms of like your habits, your diet, and exercise?
Of course. So I think my diet overall was pretty okay from the point of view of calories. And I
Mm.
wasn't eating like a lot of junk. But probably I wasn't eating anything like the level of protein that I'm now eating, but it wasn't awful. From an exercise point of view, I was exercising, but without much structure. So sometimes I would do some weights in the gym, sometimes I'd do some cardio in the gym, but it was sporadic rather than consistent. And yeah, it just doesn't have the same level of structure that I have now.
Mm. Mm. I mean, I would agree personally. When you told me what you were eating, I thought, okay, cool, I can work with this, I can work with this. And I mean, the nutrition plan that you have now, I think much more represents what you'd want to be eating, but we'll get to that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and with your exercise, the same thing. I think the main thing that you've said there is consistency. You've developed an amazing routine, and you nail it every week. And I think proof's in the pudding, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, this is one thing that is very different. Is I'm very focused on, if I've got 4 sessions a week, then I do all 4 sessions. If I've got a cardio session as additional, I do it. If there's a number of steps to be done, then I do them. So I'm like really consistent in the application of it. Bar illness or maybe Christmas or something like really different. Basically I
Mm,
am doing the
mm.
routine all the time.
I can attest to that. Rupert is an A-star client, absolutely. So let me ask you this: what actually inspired you to start your fitness journey like properly with a coach?
So there was a couple of things. So a friend of mine had lost a lot of weight. So he had lost 20 odd kilograms as well, actually. But he was using like Slimming World as a sort of group process, which I just didn't really fancy. It wasn't my type of thing.
Mm,
And he was just very much losing fat or losing weight. That's what he was doing. There wasn't a great structure to it from an exercise point of view. And
mm,
then I had another two friends, of which I know one through work, and she then was working with you,
mm,
and clearly was getting some, really good results to start with. And I was like, this could be a better route. So I want to achieve, the goal, but it's about
mm.
how to do it and what help to get. And I just thought working with you was like a better approach than some sort of class or general club. And yeah, that's how I then started.
Yeah, 100%. And when we first met, I thought the same thing. Having that personalised protocol, that's always going to make the difference because it's tailored to you. So how can it not work? Um,
Yeah.
so with that in mind, what would you say are like the biggest hurdles that you had faced before, and how did we sort of overcome those?
So I think there's there's a hurdle around the discipline of doing something, regularly and consistency. So there is a bit of a hurdle around that.
Mm,
I think there's a bit of a hurdle on knowing really exactly what you're doing. So sure, you can join up to lots of gyms and someone will show you around and show you the machines, but to be very specific about what you're doing, it's not so easy to get that just by joining a gym generally. Um, and equally, dieting is like there's loads of diets, there's loads of options, but to then get that combination of what you should be eating from a nutrition point of view and what you should be doing from an exercise point of view, and what you've talked about, and it's evident, is it's really using bodybuilder type techniques of exercise and nutrition to achieve results. And there's an awful lot
mm,
of research around that. There's a lot of thinking about how to do that really effectively. So it's
mm.
applying, a level of science or consideration to actually achieve the results rather than just doing what seems to feel right. And I think that getting over that getting over that hurdle to actually like do it in a really constructive way, I think is a really great thing. I think that makes a lot of difference. I think actually having a coach that keeps you accountable. I mean, this is not so much a deal for me day to day, but occasionally it does trip in. But having someone that, every day you're reporting out, what have you done with regard to your exercise, what have you eaten, how many steps have you walked, all of those type of things. That just that slight level of accountability or extra accountability, I think really helps make it happen as well. And I think the other thing I really like is that you and I have interacted through the whole process. And, when I get a win, you celebrate that with me. You're as pleased about it as I am, which is fantastic. But equally, when I'm like a bit disheartened that I haven't lost the weight I was expecting to, or something's not completely gone my way, you're really reassuring around, look, okay, Rupert, we didn't get the result this week, but it'll be okay. And now, don't worry about that. And I think that really helps as well, because sometimes you can get a bit demotivated when you didn't get what you thought you were going to get, but actually then just having the stamina to keep going, you find you do then get the results. And I think what's really important is you don't give up when you don't get exactly what you had in mind in a particular day or week, that you just don't give up with it. You just got to keep going, and having someone to just reassure you is really helpful.
I think you put it beautifully. And when we say the proof's in the pudding, remember when we looked at your graph the other week, and it was just that consistent downtrend of weight loss, and you have your occasional spikes and this, and like you said, there's a week where you don't lose anything, and then the next week it drops. And as you said, we interacted the whole way through, and we'd laugh because you'd be like, oh, Friday I'm up, and then we'd be like, I wonder what it's going to be Monday, almost wagering what it was going to be. And we'd be right. We knew. And we got to know your body so well through this process. About the training and the nutrition, would you say having it all laid out on the app for you and you could follow it as you're going through the gym and stuff, would you say that made it easier for you?
Oh, loads easier. So actually having, the training plan, actually having it laid out, and you can record what you've done, and it just becomes very easy. You just need to follow what the instructions are on the app, and then when you record it, you can then look to see what you've actually managed to achieve, and if you've achieved more than the last time. I think that makes it really easy, and it overcomes. This wasn't such a big deal for me, but I think it can be with some people. It overcomes that sort of slight sense of intimidation that you can get in a new gym of, what machines are there and what you should be using and are you doing it correctly? All of that is really helped by having a structured plan. And I think the eating, similarly, it sort of guides you as to what you're going to have. And, the amount of things that I eat that are off plan is actually really low. I pretty much stick to the plan all the time. I might have the odd cheat meal when we talk about that, but it's very rare. And I think it gives that sort of structure and discipline of, okay, I won't eat a packet of crisps, or I won't eat some biscuits or something like that. You have a clear plan of what you're going to do. And you and I talk about, if I'm really struggling, that I'm really hungry, okay, we make a change, so it's not as if you live constantly battling with the fact that you're hungry. When we talk about it, we make a change and then it should resolve the issue. And most of the time it does, it has then resolved it, and then it makes it sustainable.
Yeah, 100%. And I think especially like in later days, every check-in, hunger levels are like 4 or 5 out of 10. So that shows.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I did just want to say for the benefit of the audience that, with Rupert, he wasn't like a hardcore gym goer every single day or something like this. And he literally has stepped into a bodybuilding gym and goes there consistently. And I have other members of the team messaging me saying how consistent he is and how hard he works. So I just wanted to give you your flowers there and say, your hard work doesn't go unnoticed. And, hats off to you for just jumping in the deep end, because a lot of people would be intimidated in that environment. You're completely right about that, but not you. So well done.
Yeah. It's actually when you go and do it and you just embrace it, you find everyone's there trying to sort of improve themselves. And okay, sure, some people have got different motives. Some people are very much hardcore bodybuilders. Some people are much more around fitness and structure for some sort of different events. You can see that, but everyone's there with the best of intentions, and it's a nice environment. It's a really nice environment. As you get to know people, it's friendly, encouraging, and yeah, there's something really nice about it. Something really nice about the environment.
Good. All right. So to build on that point, would you say that your understanding of training, nutrition, and mindset has changed since we've been working together?
Yeah, without a doubt. So I absolutely understand the training need for consistency. Absolutely understand that, and how much training is required, how much you need to do in order to get results, and that's a key point, because it's neither that I'm not doing enough and not getting anything, and in which case you're wasting your time. But equally, what it's not is training endlessly, unnecessarily, and that's also wasting your time. So it's getting that balance right. So that's really helped from a training point of view. And then from a nutrition point of view, yeah, I mean, the understanding of the criticality of high protein, both to help you not feel hungry all the time, but also then to help muscle development, is really changed. I understand that so much better. And it's changed what I want to eat, so when things are, before, a treat might have been something like a, sugary pudding or something like that. I don't really have the desire to eat that anymore. I mean, I was reflecting earlier, you and I were talking about doing this podcast, and I was reflecting that now, having some bread is like a treat, whereas, it used to be something really sweet. And I just don't fancy some of those things anymore. I'm just, it's not appealing at all. So it does tune and change what you want to eat, and you're quite happy with it. It's quite comfortable after time.
That's fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that. And I mean, yeah, just again for the audience's benefit, we've exactly created, when Rupert and I started working together at first, we started with, like, I guess you'd call it like a bodybuilding style diet. We just really were focusing on that protein, and now we've managed to create something that is completely bespoke to Rupert. And I'm hoping, I'd imagine, it's all foods that you love very much, as most of them are by your request. And yeah, I think that's the best thing. And that's the best way you're going to get that diet adherence, is where you don't feel like you're missing out.
Yeah. I remember there was a funny moment when you were asking me, what was it I really wanted, and I was like, I just really like some green salad, and I'm like, I'm not sure everyone will ask for this. To which you're like, yeah, not everyone does ask
just
for this,
man.
But it's like, yeah, I was really craving it. So and it's all good. It can work perfectly okay. So we're getting things that I like, that are healthy. They're good things to be eating, but then, as you say, it's customized for me. They're the sorts of things that I would like to have. So yeah, it's great. It's really great.
Happy days. Well, I think you've sort of answered the next question in terms of how it's impacted your relationship with food. Like, the fact that you're not craving those sugary sweets anymore is great. And yeah, I feel like you've always made the most out of the cheat meals too. The gym performance always goes through the roof the next day, so we can't really grumble.
Yeah, it's good.
I think my next question would be, how has what we've done, your fitness journey, losing the 20 kilos and becoming so disciplined and regimented, has it affected any other areas of your life, like work, relationships, anything like that?
So I think in general it's helped my stress levels, and I think it's helped me be calmer. I think that's really helped. I feel over the last year I've been in a really good place. So I think that's helped. But I think the other thing, which is possibly more important, is I am a bit older than some of the folks that you might train, or the people in the gym, and it's definitely, one of my points of focus is around, I want to be active and strong and healthy in the long term as well, into my 60s and 70s and 80s, and I think, the training, getting my weight down, the training, building a bit of strength, eating correctly, is really helped my feeling around how healthy I'll be in the long term, and how long I'll be able to do things. Because we don't want to just be alive, do we? We want to live. So so in the long term, I think it's a real help as well. And I'm recognizing this is now a way of life. It's not a case of I diet for a year or so, bring my weight down, train a bit, and then I'm done. This is now consistently for the rest of my life. And it might change and develop, sure, but principally, this is part of my life now.
I love that. I love that. So yeah, again, for reference for the people, Rupert now comes in. He's in the gym, smashing the Jim Lecco shoulder press because he prefers it over the Atlantis. And I just love the fact that you even know that stuff. You're like, no. This range of motion suits me much better in terms of my bone structure. And as you said, it is about longevity at this point. And again, this is why your nutrition has, the structure of it has changed, because we've now put more fats in place to improve hormone function and just longevity in general. And I think, you can see that in the progress pictures that we've taken. Now is by far the best look we've had. It goes without saying.
Yeah, it's really worked. It's really, really worked.
It is fantastic. Now, when we first started, so as you said, your diet definitely wasn't in a terrible place, and nor were your habits. It's not like you were going out drinking 9 days a week or something, but just, for their benefit, what would you say, how did you feel just internally, not even about your weight or anything like that, just how did you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 when we first started?
So when we first started, I wasn't in a bad place. I absolutely wasn't, and I'm a pretty sort of optimistic type of a person anyway. So I was probably day to day on about a 7, maybe a 6 on a bad day, but a 7 generally. I wasn't in a bad place at all.
I would agree with that. We've always had high-spirited conversations, and everything that we've done, I think, has just been adding, how to put it, the cherry on top, so to speak. Like with the extra habits, optimizing the sleep and the morning routine and that type of thing. It's all just been further to benefit yourself rather than fixing some massive problem.
Yeah, completely.
So now when you send me the text saying you're feeling on top of the world and that kind of thing, what are we saying that's out of 10?
Well, it's interesting. So I think day to day, a 9 would be my normal. Occasionally I might slip to an 8, and I have quite a few days where I think I hit a 10, quite a few days when, if I'm walking out in the gym in the morning, having done my workout and maybe done a bit on the treadmill, I'm walking out and I'm feeling amazing, like really, really amazing. So, it's a 10 is possible. It's absolutely possible.
Hey,
and I think at the
that.
end of the day, yeah. And at the end of the day, it's true as well. You can reflect on what you've done that day and what you've accomplished, and yeah, you can feel really good about the day, really great about it.
I 100% agree. I mean, as your sort of partner in this affair, I'd say you've got everything to be proud of, and your work rate and consistency never goes unnoticed. Even some of the boys, if they're having one of those weeks where you said you need a bit of extra accountability, I'll just think, mate, you need a Rupert week. You need the daily habits ticked off. For the benefit of them, I'll put a screenshot of you and your daily habits. Every box ticked every day. We're not joking. I'm going to show you lot. So, lastly, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out their fitness journey?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think routine is a key one. So you do make the point about me being really consistent, but one of the things that I recognise very early on is having a standard routine makes it so much easier to do that. So I always go to the gym first thing. That is always the first thing I do when I go. And if I'm doing some sort of cardio activity, I always do that first thing. So I'm really consistent, but it's because I've got a routine that just makes it so much easier to follow. It's just what I do. Now, sure, I sometimes get ambushed where, my work might require me to be away or something like that, and then I maybe move the days around. But I have a fundamental routine that I follow, which I think makes it a lot easier. I think it helps to have a bit of stamina, in that I think if people are expecting they're going to get an enormous result in a month or so, I mean, you can get good results in a month or so, but you need the patience and stamina to go over the long term, because I think it is a long-term game, not a short-term game. And I think almost understanding that, and I know it can be really frustrating when you're first starting, that you want a bigger result. but equally, if you just stick with it for 3 or 4 or 5 months, actually you do see those big results. So it's sort of having that patience and stamina to keep going. I mean, I think having a coach is an absolute winner. I think it's way more difficult without having a coach. I would recommend it to anyone who's serious. And I think it's about what you can achieve as well. Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit in competition with myself about what is it I can do and what is it I can achieve, and I find that really rewarding. So it's like focusing on what can I do, and there will be people in the gym like running a crazy distance and lifting way heavier weights than I can. I know that, but it's not about them. It's about what I can achieve. And I think everyone's supportive of that too. So I think it works.
And actually, to quote you, we were speaking before. This was, a month or two ago, and we were talking about the routine and your consistency in general. Because that's the thing I want to highlight to the people is what Rupert is incredibly consistent, as we've said. And what's happened with that is he's chipped away. And again, I will post his graph of his weight loss because it's incredible to see it literally going down, like the shares in Beyond Meat. Like it is literally boom. And the reason for that, again, his consistency and the fact that he's stuck with it. And yeah, we have had months where we've dropped more weight than others, but the reason for that is just the body's, we're changing things as we go. And it has been like a learning process for Rupert, what works for him. And I've been guiding him that whole way, to make sure everything's perfect. And look, this is what's happened. So yeah, to quote you, he said, I go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Simple. Like, why make it more difficult than it needs to be? That's what he does.
Yeah, very good.
So I just wanted to say, as you probably know, as we always have spirited conversations, but you are an absolute pleasure to work with. And it's been so rewarding, seeing your journey so far. And now we're just about to kick off the most crazy part of the journey. If you care to share with them what you're training for now.
Yeah, so what I've decided is for this year I need another challenge, and this is partly to keep me going and keep me motivated and focused. So the plan is one of my colleagues has done a Hyrox event, which is a combination of running and exercises over a series of activities typically in indoor arenas, the NEC or Excel in London, that type of thing. And my plan is to target doing one of those in the autumn of this year. So now we're beginning the training now, so I'm running a really long build up to it. But that's okay. I think that's fine. With a view to doing as good a job of it as I can. And I'm really looking forward to it. And it's just added another dimension to the training. It's really done it. And I really appreciate that, you and I have worked on, okay, well, what does the program now need to look like? What's different? What are we going to change? It's just added a bit of fun to it. So yeah, I'm really excited by it.
100%, and you're going to smash it. And I think the fact that we've got the longer timeline to prepare means we can just work on getting that cardiovascular fitness through the roof, but also tackling your main goal, which is obviously the body recomposition. So you're going to be in the best shape of your life, physically, cardiovascularly, strength-wise, the whole nine.
Yeah, should be brilliant, shouldn't it? It will be. It's
going to be incredible. So they can check back in a few months to see the wins. Well, Rupert, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I'm sure the people are going to learn a lot from it. And look, my friends, if you're looking to make a change in your life like Rupert has done, it's absolutely possible. You can book a call with me through my Instagram. We'll make it happen, man. No time like the present. Let's fucking go.